The digital newsletter industry is booming right now. It's like a $10, $12 billion market with crazy growth projections for the next 5, 10 years. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a company that's taking a unique angle on the newsletter play. They're running a recommendations platform, like a referral network for newsletters to get started, to grow, to monetize their subscriber base. So today we're going to be taking a look at SparkLoop's homepage, some of their social presence, their funnel more broadly, and see if we can help them out with some recommendations on their messaging, clarity, try to get more conversions from this landing page, and ultimately try to get people to sign up for their platform so they can build out their network. Now, when we first land on the SparkLoop homepage, I think the headline is pretty strong. The #1 newsletter recommendations platform. Let's check out the subheader. Partner up with the world's best newsletters for free and paid recommendations, unlock game-changing newsletter revenue, and quality audience growth. So it's pretty straightforward. They get straight to the point. This is a newsletter recommendations platform. We see some social proof right off the bat above the fold. I do recognize a few of these names: Morning Brew, The Hustle. These are huge newsletters, okay? And that brings me to my first point about this homepage and the messaging we're going to look at right off the bat. If I am a newsletter operator, somebody who runs a newsletter, when I land on this site, I don't know if this is for me right out of the gate. I don't know if I'm somebody who maybe qualifies to use this platform. Maybe my subscriber base is pretty small. Maybe I'm in a weird niche that they don't cover. It looks maybe my newsletter isn't big enough. I don't have enough traction yet. Or maybe I'm too big and I have all this owned media elsewhere, all this owned property online. I think SparkLoop right off the bat can do a better job of addressing the two big parts of their audience. One is like the heavy hitters. It's the Morning Brew. It's Tim Ferriss. It's James Clear, the Atomic Habits guy. Okay. Those guys are already monetizing their newsletters and they're making a lot of money doing it through sponsorships. The other side of this equation, and something that I think could really benefit SparkLoop here, is addressing the little guys. So maybe you only have a few hundred subscribers to your newsletter. Maybe you only got a few thousand. You're just getting traction. To me, this looks like maybe I'm disqualified if I don't have that big audience, but it seems like SparkLoop is set up in a way to help the small guys grow and benefit the big players at the same time, and sort of this synergistic network effect. So right out of the gate, I think they could do a better job of making that case. Maybe split this into two halves of the page where you say for big newsletters, 500K plus, and maybe for the up and comers with smaller audiences. The other part of this that I want to see is addressing audience types and niches. So most of these, this is kind of business news, economics, tech news, finance, things like that. Obviously, those newsletters are highly monetizable and they bring in money because the sponsorships are big. I think for smaller niches, maybe in lifestyle content or smaller creator economy stuff, sports or beauty or fitness, stuff like this, I think some of their messaging could speak to those smaller creators in different niches. So maybe show me what different types of niches of newsletters that SparkLoop helps. That would speak to me as somebody who's just visiting this page for the first time. Even if they show the big guys, the Tim Ferrisses, whoever, there's something that speaks to me, and I don't hesitate to continue scrolling down this page because I know that there's something for me at the end of it. So now we're scrolling down below the fold. We see our first kind of feature or benefit here: recommend amazing newsletters, unlock millions. They do millions in payouts every month, thousands of the best newsletters, 2 to 5x higher payouts than other recommendations platforms. So I like that they're putting some numbers here. It gives us some context. But the other part of this I really like, they show how easy it is to use. They show how the recommended newsletters pop-up works on an email or in this little widget. So that's good. I like to see companies showing how their product actually appears in an interface, so it's not some mystery that we have to imagine. Scroll down to the first piece of social proof, Tyler Parker from the Office Party newsletter. The quote he has here is a little inside baseball. It is a point that I want to get to later, but this high up on the homepage, I think it might be a little too technical. It speaks to the kind of the acquisition costs that newsletter operators are dealing with. This is a big pain point. A lot of them are running meta ads to try to get subscribers, and SparkLoop is kind of framing their platform as an alternative source of revenue or alternative source of customer acquisition that paid ads don't provide. So I think that's a strong piece of proof. I just don't know if the average visitor newsletter operator is going to be there in the conversation yet this early. Also, one kind of nitpick thing, I click read case study here and it's just a dead link. It doesn't bring me anywhere, just back to the homepage. So small thing, but let's keep scrolling down. We have a few more examples of how top media brands grow with SparkLoop. They talk about subscriber quality a lot, which is a big talking point. It's highly scalable. Again, the quality is higher, so the audience is going to be more likely to buy because they're vetted instead of these big media blasts, these paid ad campaigns that don't target the right people. This niches down to the audiences that are actually interested in products that sponsors are offering and things like this. I think they do a pretty good job of showing this. They're building a strong case here. Let's scroll on down to the second piece of social proof. Jason Woodruff talks about how he added thousands of highly engaged subscribers each week. What I want to see is, what did that get Jason ultimately in terms of revenue? Did he make money off those new subscribers? He said the quality is incredible, that he's getting a lot of growth, but engagement and revenue lift is what newsletter operators are looking for. So we could build a stronger case with this case study. Maybe there's more detail in the case study if I could click on it, but I think that's a pretty good pull quote. Now we're scrolling down to the bottom of the homepage. I do like the quantified social proof here, 2-3x faster growth, 11% better engagement. I don't know if that's the best stat to show, or at least show me what it means in terms of the revenue that they get from it, or maybe compare it to the cost of ads or organic campaigns, or maybe a time save or a money save. The idea here is that SparkLoop gets you more from your investment, or at least it's a risk-free opportunity that you can get more subscribers without paying. So I think what could really help them here is just more specific. So this type of newsletter, this finance newsletter, had these sponsors. Previously, they were running ads. Now they're doing this. So I think SparkLoop has the right idea here. I think that they could support their case with hitting on the pain points that these revenue operators are experiencing, because it is a unique set of pain points that's different from any other sort of like growth operators, marketers. They really focus on quality. They really focus on cost of acquisition and retention, LTV, the long-term value of these subscribers, and ensuring that they're people who are going to read the newsletter, stick around, and buy from the sponsors more. Maybe the first pull quote would be more appropriate here. Expand on that case study, the niche type, the audience size. Show me the quantifiable details of that case study with the pull quote, and attach these numbers to a case study. I think that would work better than throwing out like these loose numbers that seem kind of unsupported here. Now we're looking at integrations. Great. It's going to work with my ESP, whatever distribution thing I'm working with, grow organically with the newsletter. So again, that's in contrast to paid campaigns or partnerships. So that's good. And then once we reach the bottom of the homepage, I think we're missing some keywords, some key concepts. I mean, just going back here to referral programs, that's at the heart of this. Word of mouth marketing, really making a strong case for that. Word of mouth marketing is by far, it's the oldest and the best and the most reliable form of marketing that's ever existed on planet Earth. It was the best form of marketing 1,000 years ago. It's going to be that way 1,000 years in the future. So really hitting that point of referrals and network effects, organic word of mouth, people sharing. Core offer here is really foundational to what marketing is. It's referrals, it's word of mouth, it's organic networking, it's network effects. So with that in mind, I think that there's room to grow that side of the messaging and just really hammer the fundamentals and how powerful this can be, because that's really what they're selling here. Now, jumping over to LinkedIn, they do post a decent amount, which is great. They have this podcast that's up and running that they're clipping from. We get some cool quotes from that. And look at this story. In 1 year, this guy went from $0 to $15,000 a month. I mean, that's a really powerful case study. That, to me, hits harder than sort of this vague quote about how his newsletter is easy to use and being cost effective. I mean, this is a high impact case study. It's really simple. You understand it like that. And it's a small creator that scaled fast. It's not this big newsletter that everybody knows the name of. So I want to see more examples like that on the site if they have them. But I am glad it's here on the LinkedIn. Maybe that can be turned into a graphic or a video testimonial from this guy, something that just gives me more and makes it feel more real. Now, I do want to call out this graphic from the founder, Lewis. It demonstrates an important point, which is ROI and the economics of paid ads versus organic referrals and networks that I kind of touched on earlier, but this really paints a clear picture. Essentially, Meta is a very expensive platform to use. It doesn't always target the right people. You end up burning a lot of money because the targeting's off, and Meta's just a black box and everybody kind of has a hassle with it. So painting a stronger picture of SparkLoop as an alternative to these paid media campaigns, I think that that's something that they can lean into way more. This graphic is a pretty good example of that. It is a little confusing. It's wordy, kind of convoluted. They can make the point better and just more clear for somebody to pick up quickly. Just comparing Meta or Google to SparkLoop, or comparing network effects to paid media campaigns, or they can hit on this over and over again in so many different ways for different verticals, for different newsletter sizes and niches. And this is a highly repeatable format. They can experiment with different graphic types and messaging styles and clarity, make it really simple, make it more complex. So there's a lot of ground to work with here. There's so many angles that they can hit, and they can do this for the big guys, for the up and comers, for different niches, different creator types, people who are more focused on those small, click-through rate percentage increases versus people who just want to try to get their newsletter up and running. So the messaging has so much potential, so many different ways to go. I think they have a good start here, but there's just way more they can do. So that wraps it up. I do audits like this all the time for clients here on the channel. So if you liked it, hit subscribe, follow me on socials, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.